This is the Dynasty Vipers Vipercast.
Now, turning our attention to the running backs here, we're going to talk about running backs here heading into 2023. And I'm going to kickstart this with a top five. We're going to go through at least 40 running backs here, and we're going to rapid fire. Tara and Major are going to pick one or two from each little area that we go on and talk about whether they're too high or too low, like we did with the quarterback position earlier on. At number one, it's Christian McCaffrey. You still get yourself a wide receiver and a quarterback. Now, Elijah Mitchell could have something to say about that, much like he did when he was healthy last season. So that's something to kind of keep an eye on there. I don't know if Christian McCaffrey is going to be my number one when the season kicks off, because Elijah Mitchell is a real threat. At number two, Bijan Robinson. People ask, why are you so low on Desmond Ridder? It's because I got Bijan Robinson. It's that simple there in Atlanta. This is one of the best running teams in the National Football League. Arthur Smith loves to run the ball. That's not going to change. At number three, just because I know Tara's on the show, it's Austin Eckler. Regardless of his feelings for the Chargers and how the Chargers truly feel about him, he is still a PPR machine. At number four, because it's my rankings, Josh Jacobs. Put some respect on the man's name. All he did last season was lead the league in rushing. At number five, Jonathan Taylor. This could go one of two ways there with Anthony Richardson under center. He could either be leaned on even more in the running game, or he could lose some touches there inside the goal line. When you look at those top five, Major, who are you taking out? Because there's someone there you've got to want to take out of that list.
Man, again, the rookies like at 1 and 2, and I hear what you're saying. I think he's gonna have a lot of attempts. He's gonna get that target share, but man, I can't put him over all these veteran guys. I think Jonathan Taylor's gonna have a bounce back season. I will move him up maybe to 2. Why are you shaking your head? Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs is going to be Josh Jacobs again. You have Jimmy G there. Jimmy G can't throw the ball further than 5 yards. So you're going to get some receptions like added to his game now. And then you have Eckler. He's always finding his way. He may have talked his way out of being a top 5 guy, you know, holding out and stuff. I don't know if the team is going to really reward him with like giving him the ball. They have a lot of receivers out there now. So this is up. And Christian McCaffrey, yeah, I think like you said, Eli is going to be up there with him. I think that's a 1A, 1B type of situation. So he might not have enough shares to be that one guy.
Terry, you missed the start of the show here on the podcast where Major basically said, I'm that guy that's yelling on my lawn and yelling at old thing. Major's got this thing for young people that apparently he's yelling at them to get off his lawn because they're not allowed on the field with him. But
you can't be number one if you've never played, if you've never touched the ball. Come on.
He did. He owned it there in Texas. I mean, I feel pretty good about that. I feel that we are going to get a Bijan Robinson type season like we saw from Ezekiel Elliott as a rookie, like we saw from Saquon Barkley, like we saw from Christian McCaffrey. These are guys that had high draft capital invested in them their rookie seasons, and they came out and the team fed them. So expect that to go. Tara, what do you got?
Oh, man. Cannot I agree with you on Jonathan Taylor, opposite of Major as always. I cannot in good conscience say that I truly believe that he can be the RB1 or RB2 overall, just because when you look at what he had to do to reach RB1 before, to think he's going to be able to achieve that with Anthony Richardson, that's tough.
You guys keep saying Anthony's going to be Anthony's not going to start for like the first like 6 games.
No, they're sending him out.
Put some Minshew love in there. But I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead. Yeah.
I love Minshew. That would benefit me and a dynasty team greatly. But Minshew madness, let's go. But no, unfortunately, I do think it's going to be Anthony Richardson from the jump, which does not bode well for touchdowns, unfortunately, for Jonathan Taylor. Bijan, it drives me crazy how nobody believes in Bijan. I'm not as aggressive as you, Matt. I have him at RB4. But again, you know, he can, you know, it's tough, but you know, you're taking a little bit of a gamble there because again, he is a rookie. So I get that, Major. But the problem is that when you look at that Atlanta running offense, knowing that it's going to do exactly what it did last year, and you can even look at the splits in the time with Tyler Algier when he was, with Desmond Ritter, when Desmond Ritter was quarterback for those last several games, and Tyler Algier over that time period was given those RB1 type of numbers with like 20 carries or so. Over that time period, he was RB5. So to say that Bijan can't be a top 5 running back, to me, your argument would have to be that he is not as talented as Tyler Algier. And I don't feel like anyone would make that argument. So you have to sit there and just like do the math and say, if Bijan is on the field and has that pass catching upside, RB5, top 5 running back is just easily within the realm of possibilities for him. So I love him as a top 5 running back. Number 2, I can't put him above Austin Eckler because, for the time being, he is still in LA, and I don't think that that's going to change. But overall, I'm okay with this grouping. It's higher on Josh Jacobs than I am, but I'm with you there. I'm on the side that he will at least come close to repeating last year. So I'm not downgrading Jacobs a lot.
And real quick, the running game in Atlanta ran the ball every play because they couldn't pass the ball. Like there was no way for the pass ball, and then they put a rookie in.
Look at the numbers with Desmond Ritter. No, you admitted they gave Desmond. But you admitted they gave Desmond Ritter better. Look, like compare the passing stats and the passing volume of Marcus Mariota to Desmond Ritter. You are correct in the fact that they gave more volume to Ritter, and even in giving more volume to Ritter, getting him to that 30 level, a good decent level that we can expect him to have this season. Still, Tyler Algier was a top 5 running back.
Tyler had 17, 18, 20, and 24. But now
Bijan can't do that.
But he's sharing that with like Tyler still is going to be in the mix. They're going to share the rock. They're not going to be like all Bijan.
Yeah, in the mix.
Like 15
of course not,
because
they rushed. Of course, because they ran the ball over 500 times. Like they're not giving all of that to Bijan, but there's more than enough volume for Bijan to have those 20 carries a game stats, and for Tyler Algier to still be involved. So I still do like Tyler Algier as a good handcuff, but Bijan is still going to get the majority of the workload.
Bijan's on. He's going to get 300 touches this season. It's that simple. Bijan's getting 300 touches. Tyler Algier is a league winner. Tyler Algier is a league winner if something was to happen to Bijan Robinson. I'll put it that way. Now, from 6 to 12, there's a little bit of controversy in this part of the rankings here, especially when I look at the consensus. At number 6, Nick Chubb. At number 7, Derrick Henry. At number 8, 5 spots lower than the consensus, is Saquon Barkley. At number 9, Breece Hall. And here's where I have fun. At number 10, David Montgomery from the Detroit Lions here. And I'm going to explain this one in just a second. At number 11, J.K. Dobbins, 10 spots higher. And at number 12, Najee Harris. Now, I don't need to explain Nick Chubb or Derrick Henry or Saquon Barkley or even Breece Hall, because I think Breece Hall is going to be ready week number 1 because of when his injury happened there. I think he's going to be good to go. I'm not going to think he's missing a whole heck of a lot there. But David Montgomery, listen, I don't care about Jahmyr Gibbs. I think Jahmyr Gibbs is going to also be a top running back, but he's going to make his hay in the passing game. He's going to be what they wanted DeAndre Swift to be last season. He's going to line up in the slot. He's going to line up on the outside. He is going to be a primary pass catcher for this Detroit Lions team, which means David Montgomery is going to handle the load between the goal lines, much like Jamal Williams. Jamal Williams had 17 touchdowns last season, running behind an offensive line that had averaged 1.84 yards per carry before contact. You give David Montgomery that kind of run, he is going to produce in the run game, and he can catch the ball out of the backfield. So Detroit is going to be able to go out there and create mismatches all over the field, especially once Jameson Williams comes back and is able to stretch the field after his 6-game suspension is served. Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to do his thing. Sam Laporta is going to open up things in the middle. Jahmyr Gibbs is going to create. You can't put a safety on him. You can't put a linebacker on him. You sure heck can't put a corner on him there working out of the slot. That is going to open up a lot for David Montgomery and J.K. Dobbins. I love this Baltimore Ravens offense because you can't focus on the run. You have to focus on the run because Lamar Jackson can run, Gus Edwards can run, J.K. Dobbins can run. The biggest difference here in Baltimore is they've got guys to pass the ball to. Mark Andrews, Rashad Bateman. When Bateman and Jackson were both together, Jackson was averaging over 35 fantasy points per contest. Then you add Odell Beckham Jr. You add Zay Flowers through the draft. There's options in this passing game, which means you can't focus. Keep your eyes on that backfield. And then obviously at number 12, Najee Harris. I think we're talking PPR. He is going to be effective once again. He had a bit of a down year. I'm not quite high on him like where I was maybe a season ago, where people had him in the top 5 as far as running backs are concerned. But I think he can be a RB1 next season. Now, Major, you shook your head. You rolled your eye so far like a teenage girl there when I mentioned David Montgomery and J.K. Dobbins.
Yeah.
Tell me why they can't be top 12 running backs, especially one, David Montgomery has averaged the last 3 seasons RB19.
No, I think you're right about your assessment of them. I just think your ranking of them is just out of control. I see some people below. I don't know how to play it. I think I want to wait because I think you just disrespected like one of the guys, and I don't even know what's going on in your brain right now. But I would move Najee up a little bit because he is going to have those, that catching a passing game. Breece Hall coming off that injury. You have Brett. I said Brett Favre. You have Aaron Rodgers out there now. Aaron is going to want to like throw the ball all over the field. I think Saquon should be moved up. Derrick Henry to me seems like he's slowing down just a tad bit. Like he can still give you those games where he goes crazy, but it's not as consistent as it was. Nick Chubb, I think he's done some like knee injuries and stuff like that. Now, I think those 2 older guys we can probably move down a bit, move Saquon up. Man, it's just hard for me to say David Montgomery in the top 10, dude, because you're disrespecting my guy, and I think you did it on purpose just to like piss me off, and I think it's working. But I'm gonna let Tara go because I'm about to get mad.
I don't even know where to start, Matt. Honestly, I don't know. It's I've been with you. I've been with you the whole time, and now we've gone so far apart. This is where guys like Ramondre Stevenson and Tony Ballard are locks for me. Saquon is too low. I understand. Maybe there's, kind of worrying about a holdout there that's got, I hope that's the reason that he's ranked down. Otherwise, I don't quite understand it. David Montgomery, I'm not there. I'm never going to be there. And I like David Montgomery. Right. I just don't think that is within. I get the Jamal Williams thing, but that was a special situation where a lot of things tilted the right way for Jamal Williams to get those numbers. And I have a little bit more faith in the upside that Gibbs can bring to the role compared to the way that, DeAndre Swift was minimalized in that offense just because of the way that they unfortunately felt like they couldn't rely on him. J.K. Dobbins, I'm not there either. Najee is the only one that I'm there on, and I would have him a little bit higher. I would take Najee all day, every day over David Montgomery and J.K. Dobbins for sure.
The reason Najee is lower is sometimes a guy hurts you, and Najee hurt a lot of people, and I'm not quite ready to trust him yet. And you look at some of these guys coming up on the next thing here, like 13 through 24, and you mentioned Ramondre Stevenson, who I had at 13. Consensus has him 3 spots higher than I do. His ADP has him 1 spot higher. So it's not like there's a huge disconnect there. Tony Pollard, you can make an argument because that's a difference of 6. And this Dallas offense, they didn't really get another running back to kind of compete with Tony Pollard. So I could see how someone could make an argument. But we're still got him just on the outside of that top 12. And it's not that I don't like these 2 running backs. I just really like the guys I have ahead of them that much more. Now, at 15 is one of my other guys I think could have a big season. He was kind of knocked for his efficiency last season, and that's Rachaad White. And the reason for this is I'm not the biggest PPR guy, but when there's potential here for a huge PPR season out of Rachaad White, he had, I think, the 12th most targets for running backs last season. He had a top 5 target share rate last season. And Leonard Fournette is no longer there, who ran the 2nd most routes last season. You put that all together, and all you added was Chase Edmonds and Sean Tucker's an undrafted free agent. That bodes well. Oh, don't worry. I love myself, Sean Tucker. Go check out my Twitter handle. There's people bookmarking that tweet ready to throw it back in my face at the end of the season. That said, this is telling me that Tampa Bay believes in White, regardless of what the rest of us think. If they're not going to draft high or sign a big name free agent, they must feel good about what they have in Rachaad White. At 16, Aaron Jones. At 17, Jahmyr Gibbs. At number 18 is Cam Akers, who apparently I'm higher on than most people there. I got him 5 spots higher than his ADP and 3 spots higher than his consensus. At 19, Travis Etienne, a little bit lower than most people. That could spark a little bit of controversy. I'm still not sold on him as that between the tackles type runner. I think he's a home run swinger. I think he's a good pass catcher, except Jacksonville, for whatever reason, didn't use him last season as much as you would have liked to see him being used in the passing game. And number 20, Joe Mixon. This comes down to off the field type situations. This goes to contract type talk. We don't know if he's going to be a June 1st cut or what the situation is, as Cincinnati needs to free up some money. So where does he end up? I don't know. Dameon Pierce, I wish they would use him in the passing game so I could move him up higher. They don't. Kenneth Walker, Zach Charbonnet is a real threat. So is Kenny McIntosh. So is Jackson Smith and Jigba in the passing game. We know Walker doesn't catch passes. And then you add some more talent around there. Those touches are going to go down for Walker, which hurts his value a little bit. At 23, I got Isaiah Pacheco, who I actually like, who I could see moving up this list. As most people, if you're looking for that, say you go anchor running back or you go 0 RB, Isaiah Pacheco could be that running back you need to target later on in your drafts. And at 24, Dalvin Cook, simply because we don't know where he's going to be. I don't think the Minnesota Vikings are going to hang on to him. If you want to talk about Quinnen Williams there and all these teams scrubbing their social media, check out the Minnesota Vikings banner. They took Dalvin Cook off that banner and they put Alexander Mattison on there. That has got to be an indication that Dalvin Cook may not be in their plans this season. So, Tara, when you look at this, what do you got for me?
This portion is not as egregious other than the top portion that we already talked about. I don't have the faith in Rachaad White, and it has nothing to do with him. It's just that I don't think we understand the level of depth that Tampa Bay offense could go into. Like, it could be epically bad. Do we have we had the sever for Trevor, tank for Tua. Do we have like a Caleb Williams, thing officially yet? Because I think
crashing for Caleb or
crashing
something
for
like
Caleb.
that.
There we go. Yeah, I think that might be what's going to happen here, because I don't feel positively about this at all. And I know the PPR upside because again, similar to last year, we've got the situation where even though yards per carry were horrendous, like at a level that is inexplicably bad, and it was not Rachaad White's fault. It was the offense and the offensive line. I don't think that area is going to improve, and I don't know if we're going to see the massive Tom Brady volume of dump-offs that we saw. I think that's going to go down, and so I don't have that level of – I struggle with Rachaad White because I want to rank him higher because I do think he's going to be the RB1. I do believe that Sean Tucker can make that push, so I'm grabbing up Sean Tucker because that's a real thing that could happen if he stays healthy. But I struggle with White. I really do.
The Sean Tucker thing, like I said, go back on my social media, check out my Twitter. The reason Sean Tucker dropped was not because of lack of talent. It's because at the combine during the medical checks, he had a heart condition, an ongoing heart condition. So he was unable to participate in the combine. Now, when they did their recheck, he was given the okay to participate in his pro day. He participated in his pro day, put up impressive numbers, but yet heart condition coming off of everything else that we've seen in recent history probably scared a lot of teams away from investing draft capital in a very talented player.
Can we stop playing and let me get what I got to say off? Like, you just try to pass by the disrespect that you're giving to my man, Dre Stevenson. What is wrong with you, Matt? You do it again, I'm coming to Canada and I'm gonna slap you. Stop it.
First off, I'm going to come down to the States. If you can make your way to Canton, I'll get you a step stool and you can step up and you can try and slap me.
I'll slap in your big belly. Hey, Ramondre finishes a top 10 and you go drop him. But Corporal Jones can't throw the ball. They're not going to throw the ball. They're going to run the ball every play. They went out and got another running back. What's my man's name they picked up? He played for Jacksonville.
James Robinson.
Picked up James Robinson. They're both are going to have 100 carries a game. I don't think they have any faith in your boy McCorkle over there. And then the disrespect for Travis Etienne, the man is going to be the starting running back on the hottest offense in the game. You know what I mean? This is the youngest, hottest offense in the game. There's going to be fireworks everywhere. Everyone's going to eat there. You just messed this whole list up at the bottom here, man. We got to move White down. Aaron Jones. Why does no one respect Aaron Jones when he only puts up numbers?
I think I got him right where he wants. I got him one spot lower than than the consensus, and I got him one spot higher than his draft position.
I would take Aaron Jones over Rachaad White.
Way better than that. I would take him over Tony Pollard. I would take him over.
I wouldn't do that.
For sure, Devin Montgomery. Like, I would move him into that top 12 list. Like,
I feel that there needs to be a wager on David Montgomery versus pretty much anyone you want to put out there, Major.
Can we piggyback on that? How much money can we make off this, Major?
I'm about to say, do you like? I don't want to say too low. I don't want to go too low. So we might have to discuss this offline. But I'm taking all bets because I mean, if you're thinking he's not. Don't get me wrong. I do like David Montgomery. I think his style is dope. I do like White. I think his style is dope. But knowing Matt, these are his guys. He's going to push his guys. Neither one of those dudes should be in the top 15.
That'll be interesting. I can't wait to see the end of the season, and I'm going to make sure we cut this clip here just so I can throw it out there and give David Montgomery.
It's not going to happen.
Moving on.
And then I would put Cam above like all these guys because the Rams have no other options. You can't throw the Cooper Cup every play. They're going to try to. They're going to throw the ball every play to Cooper Cup, but every now and then you're going to have to run the ball. And I think Cam is going to be. I think he's going to have one of those seasons. But yeah, the disrespect with my man Ramondre. Stop playing, Matt. You playing too much. Stop playing, man.
Well, then you better talk to the rest of your friends that are drafting because, like I said, I'm only one spot lower than they are. Now, 25 through 40, Miles Sanders is a guy that could definitely move up into that top 24 there in Carolina. I hope they use him as a pass catcher. He wasn't really asked to do that in Philadelphia. That's kind of why he's down there a little bit. James Conner, one of those running backs that we like to disrespect all the time, and I'm doing it right here as well. Brian Robinson at 27. DeAndre Swift is interesting because he would be higher behind this Eagles offensive line if I could trust him. And I can't trust him. Your best ability is your availability, and he can't. I love myself some Rashad Penny, but he can't stay healthy either. You have 3/4 of a running back between these two backs.
Oh, that's disrespectful.
At 29, James Cook. He would be higher if it wasn't for Damian Harris. You know what Damian Harris does to running backs. He basically vultures those goal line touches. Jamal Williams is at 30. I'm not too sure what his role is going to be there in New Orleans. He could be higher. He could be lower. Alvin Kamara could factor into the whole situation there as well. Alexander Madison at 31. Again, if Dalvin Cook's not there, he could move up the chain of command. Rashad Penny at 32. Antonio Gibson, I'm 8 spots higher on than most because I think he's going to be that pass catcher there in Washington. Much like Eric Bieniemy used Jerick McKinnon in Kansas City, I expect Gibson to be used very similar there in Washington. Raheem Mostert there, A-Chain's getting all the talk. Wilson's getting the talk. Remember, he's still a guy who had over 200 touches last season, Mostert did, and he's still the running back there. So I still like him. Samaje Perine at 35. This number obviously depends on where Javonte Williams is, who is not in my top 40 because I don't think his knee is going to be ready, unlike Sean Payton. Tyler Algier at 37. Major talked about lots of touches being available. I think Tyler Algier gets some of those touches, enough to move him up there. Khalil Herbert, Jerick McKinnon, and A.J. Dillon round out my top 40.
You don't have Javonte ranked at all?
Not in my top 40 because I think there's more issues with that knee than lead us to believe. I don't think he's going to be effective until week number 7, week number 8.
So if you believe
but that's still better than
Samaje up. Then if you believe that, Samaje should be higher on this list.
Yes, and I'm waiting on confirmation on that whole situation there. And I can't really move Perine up. I can't move Javonte Williams up until I know more about everything there. And from what I know, I'm thinking that the Javonte Williams is a lot like the J.K. Dobbins injury from a couple seasons ago. And that's kind of why Williams is down. I love myself Williams. He's a lot higher in my dynasty rankings, but I don't know the injury. And I don't like how this was so quiet for so long without anybody knowing anything. And usually when that happens, that's not good news. No one wants to be quiet when your running back is rehabbing fantastic, right? They'd be pumping that up, letting the fan base know this and that. They've kept Javonte Williams' injury quiet for far too long before Sean Payton said, yeah, he's going to be ready for camp. I call BS. I don't think Williams is going to be ready for camp. if he comes back to camp and I see him participate in preseason, obviously he's going to move up these rankings. Same with Alvin Kamara. He's not in these rankings because he's going to be suspended. I think he's going to get 6 games. And I don't think him missing 6 games, that's not even guaranteed he doesn't miss some time with an injury later because Kamara has missed time due to injury. So those numbers are based on them not being able to play enough to catch the guys that are ahead of them on the list. They're not too far off. If you look at the bigger picture, they're still the top 45. They're just not inside that top 40 for me.
Yeah, I think you're right about Williams. He's it used to take 2 years at least for running backs to come back from like knee injuries before Adrian Peterson. So now we expect everyone to come back like the next game. But that was one of those nasty ones where he tore like everything in the knee. So I think he will need another year. That's why I'm much higher on Samaje than a lot of people. I'd love to keep it that way. I'd love to grab him this low in the draft. And I think you got to put some respect on DeAndre Swift. I know he hasn't been healthy. I know you guys like to make fun. But in that offense, it's going to be so spread out. He's going to have so much room to run and do what he does. He might not even get touched to get hurt. Like it's going to be that offense the Eagles are putting on the field is going to be fantastic. Who else is on this list? I was looking at. I forgot. Damn it. Yeah, I'll stick with those 2.
All right. Well, just to recap what we have here in the running back ranks, I'm not going to read everyone's name there, but you can see if you want to take a screenshot, you can see what we got going on there. Basically, the top 12 in my rankings are Christian McCaffrey, Bijan Robinson, Austin Eckler, Josh Jacobs, Jonathan Taylor, Nick Chubb, Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, Breece Hall. Then a little controversy at number 10 with David Montgomery, number 11, J.K. Dobbins, and then at number 12, Najee Harris, just missing out Ramondre Stevenson and Tony Pollard, since I feel like I need to still mention Ramondre Stevenson's name one more time.